This week, we learned more about Starship's upcoming Flight 11, NASA's billion-dollar push for commercial space stations, and Mars rocks that might hold the clues to alien life. My name is Connor, and welcome to another episode of Spaceflight News. Elon Musk revealed that SpaceX is aiming for a fully reusable version of Starship, capable of lifting off more than 100 tons to orbit as early as next year. This version, known as Starship V3, represents what he called a gigantic upgrade over the current V2 design. But it won't be an easy leap. Engineers are already testing new thermal protection systems on existing vehicles. Metallic tiles tried in the last flight oxidized during re-entry. That was the rust-colored sheen you saw across the ships in SpaceX's livestream. SpaceX's own Bill Gerstner admitted those tiles didn't do so good, but that new designs, including the so-called crunch wrap around edges, have shown much better results. The path forward is becoming clearer. A steadier, more durable heat shield as the foundation for the reusability architecture. Meanwhile, Flight Test 11 is coming into focus. Just 10 days after Flight 10, Booster 15 rolled to the launch site. It's the last of the Block 2 boosters, a piece of hardware nearing the end of its line. After a successful static fire at Pad 1, it was rolled back for final preparations. This booster has a lot of history. It flew on Flight 8, making it only the second Super Heavy to ever be reflown. Ship 38 will pair with it, featuring a heat shield closer to operational standards and fewer experimental features than in previous Starships. With the Macy's site still under reconstruction, temporary launch mount adapters were rolled in for Ship 38's static fire, with an orbital attempt not expected until at least Mission 13. October is a realistic target, but patience will be needed. The bigger leap, the Block 3 Starship and the Pad 2 trench systems, will come online in a big way next year. And around Starbase, the pace is as always relentless. Construction crews are shielding Pad 2's bunkers, running electrical systems and expanding the air separation units across the highway to pump out nitrogen and oxygen. In short, SpaceX is pushing every lever to get ready for the Block 3 era of Starship. Godspeed, guys. NASA released a draft solicitation for its next big step towards commercial space stations. By the way, we have a great new video on this that you should check out here. The effort, called C3DO, will provide up to $1.5 billion from 2026 through to 2031 for companies building stations to succeed the ISS in many ways. One requirement is a 1-month, 4-person crewed mission to such a station by 2030. This marks a shift. Instead of a permanent government-run outpost, NASA is investing in private stations that it can rent when needed. For industry, this is a huge signpost. The ISS will not be around forever, and the race to replace it is now funded. The FAA gave SpaceX a green light to ramp up Falcon 9 operations. An environmental review cleared the company to increase launches from Cape Canaveral's SLC-40 from 50 to 120 per year, and to build a booster landing pad there as well. On that same day, the FAA hosted a meeting on Starship launches from nearby LC-39A, which could number up to 44 annually. Some residents voiced concerns about noise, beach closures, and airspace disruptions. The story here is pretty clear. Falcon 9 is becoming a true launch workhorse, but Starship faces the problem of fitting into crowded Florida skies and communities. On the ISS itself, Progress MS-30 undocked and burned up in the atmosphere after 6 months in orbit. It now leaves room for Progress MS-32, which is already on the pad ready for launch. Europe and Japan are making huge moves on planetary defense. The ESA-led Ramses mission, with support from JAXA, is on track for development decisions this November. The spacecraft would launch in 2028 to rendezvous with asteroid Apophis, which will make a close approach to Earth the following year. Ramses would study the asteroid's composition and behavior, complementing missions like NASA's OSIRIS-REx and ESA's Hera missions. The funding still needs approval, but if it proceeds, it could mark another major milestone in the step towards global cooperation in asteroid defense. And finally, in what must be the most underrated news this whole year, a Mars rock has reignited the debate about life beyond Earth. Perseverance sampled a stone with strange leopard spots, rich in minerals that perhaps could have been formed by microbes in ancient Martian lakes. Scientists are emphasizing that there are other explanations that could be possible, but it's by far the most intriguing evidence yet. Ironically, the samples collected for eventual return may not have a way home after all. NASA's budget proposal cancels the Mars sample return program. Acting Administrator Sean Duffy suggests a faster, cheaper alternative exists, but he gave no details. The search for life on Mars, it seems, is once again entangled in politics as much as science. On September 8th, China launched a Smart Dragon rocket from a sea platform carrying 11 communication satellites built for a Chinese car manufacturer to low Earth orbit. The next day, September 9th, a Long March 7A placed a classified Chinese military payload into medium Earth orbit. Details are of course scarce, but missions like this reflect Beijing's continued build-up of military space assets. On September 10th, SpaceX launched a Falcon 9 from Vandenberg, carrying a US government military satellite into polar orbit. These polar launches from California have become a regular feature of SpaceX's manifest. On September 11th, a Soyuz rocket lifted off from Baikonur, with Progress cargo ship bound for the ISS, keeping up the steady rhythm of Russian resupply flights. On September 12th, another Falcon 9 launched from Cape Canaveral, this time carrying Nusantara 5, a powerful Indonesian communication satellite, towards geostationary orbit. It's a major step for Indonesia in building independent telecommunication infrastructure. Later that day, a Falcon 9 launched from Vandenberg with a batch of 24 small satellites to low Earth orbit, a mix of government and commercial payloads continuing the expansions of vast numbers of orbital networks. And that's all for this week. If you enjoyed this episode, follow Spaceflight News on YouTube, Instagram, and X for more stories from the frontier of space exploration. Until next time, keep looking up.